thanks for joining us again for Talk About It Tuesday with the Spokane Home Builders Association. In the first part of this session, we've been talking with band construction. And so Dr. Sean Smitham is here with us, Deacon Band of Band Construction, and Josh Terris as well with Band Construction. Really want to continue our conversation. Where we left off, we were talking about the importance of relationships and how this last year, if it's taught us one thing, it's that we need other people. And really that's true in a workplace. We need to rely on others. We need to work together and figure out how to do that collaboratively. We all have different personalities, different tendencies. And so how do we make that work? And so really glad, Deacon, Josh, that you guys are here to talk a little bit about what that looks like in your workplace. And we'll dive into that. So really, Josh, I'd love for you to start us off. But as you think about relationships in the workplace, there are people who are supervisors, and then there are others who are workers. I think you're kind of in the middle, right? So you have bosses, but you also have people you supervise. So what does that mean for you when you think about relationship in the workplace? How does that benefit you, and what are maybe some challenges?
Yeah, I think I got like the best job. Like there, I got best of both worlds. I got Deacon supporting me, no matter what I do. He's always there to support me. I can go to him about pretty much anything. Doesn't matter if it's business or personal. And then I also keep an eye on my guys, my leads, my guys underneath me, 4, 5, 6 guys at times, making sure that they're okay, making sure they're fine, and making sure that they don't have. And mental health has always been important to me. So I've always, and it has been to Deacon too. So that's been our big thing. And been with Deacon for coming up on 5 years in May. But it's because, he treats his company as a family. We're a family. We talk, we're not, we go into personal stuff all the time. We support each other 100% of the time.
Yeah. Deacon, obviously, I see you nodding, so you agree with that. What is it from your vantage point? Why is that important to you? What maybe are you hearing? You're going, yeah, man, I did something right a little bit that somebody says this, but why is that important to you as a business owner that you wanted to build that sort of environment?
Basic respect for humans. I mean, just respecting other people around you, and especially the people that you work with. You spend an awful lot of time at work, as much as you do at home, possibly more. And it would just, to me, it just seems so counterintuitive to treat people poorly and not listen to what they have to say and their needs. As a younger person working for other people, I've worked for both types of the dictatorship of like, this is how it is and no reason why or any explanation. That's no fun, and your voice isn't heard. It's just a one-way street, right? And we need to have it both ways. We need to be able to listen to each other and communicate our needs. Some of the best bosses that I've ever had were ones that I would catch listening to me and then projecting that information somewhere else, or allowing me to go and fly and do what I thought the way I wanted to solve a problem, and that, hey, I have an answer. Well, let's hear it. That's absolutely outstanding if you're not used to hearing that. And then I think once you get used to hearing it, you wouldn't have it any other way at that point. And it's just, it's super valuable to create relationships with each other. There's a high level of trust there. And when you're working together with each other, with power tools, safety issues, there's vehicles, and there's all these things flying around. And then we're in customers' homes, which has always been an issue, but even more so in the last year, of respecting their boundaries, and putting them out in front and understanding, hey, here are rules of engagement and how to operate. And I just think that's the level of respect that you should pay everybody.
Yeah. What does that look like when we're talking about mental health? Maybe an example, if you don't have one off the top of your head, that's okay. But it's one thing to go like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? And it's another to talk about real issues that you're having, whether it's with another relationship with somebody in your life or whatever that is. How does that really come about? Are there maybe some intentional things that you think about, questions that you ask, a process? What does that look like?
Yeah, for me, it's we do Monday morning meetings every Monday. So we talked about safety, like real safety, which is power tools, the clothing, even winter, being in ice and snow, and making sure that we clear that and talk about that. But then I also do a check-in. But you also got to understand that in a group setting, it's a little hard to open up. You're probably not going to mention something. But then I do, check on the guys one-on-one. I'll go to a job site and I'll pull people away and say, just, how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah. So really breaking down that, having a willingness really to breaking down those barriers, having that conversation. I know in our very first session a few weeks ago, Dr. Smith, we talked about that, really how we can do that, what that looks like. What are you hearing? Maybe something that's going well that that you might identify, and maybe a constructive criticism or something to try. What are maybe some practices that can be implemented in this area?
I think you're implementing all the right practices. I think the culture begins with how you view your system, right? So if you view your system as this mechanism that's only exists to put money in the bank, then you treat people like they're cogs in a machine. But if you treat your system like this is a family, then you have lots of opportunities for growth. And what I really liked from both of you, what I heard from both of you was that this idea of being heard and understood, that it's important that that's a two-way street, that you feel heard and understood, and Deacon, you feel heard and understood, that expectations are clearly communicated, but sometimes there's some leeway about how to go about meeting those expectations. So, and that allows for lots of creative problem solving. It also allows for people to step into their own growth, right? And so to be able to lay out parameters for, this is what I expect for you, but how we get there, that's an open discussion. So I really like the way that that's structured and the way that your communication is going. I really like the idea of having consistent meetings of some type. Again, the more stable and predictable our environments are, the better we do as mental health. And then a check-in, you're right, it's hard for people to maybe speak openly about it, but just the sheer act of checking in is sending a signal that I'm here for you. And then it sounds like you always have that kind of communication in the background anyways. I'm here for you if you need anything. And then when you go around to those job sites and you're pulling people out to the side, just say, seriously, how are things going right now? And, sometimes 0 to 10 or up, down, where are we at? Like, just want to make sure you're okay. Anything you need from me? Just those type of quick check-ins is enough to let people know, like, I'm seen, I'm heard, and I'm respected. I think that's great.
So Deacon, if there's maybe another business owner listening to this and going, man, I don't really quite have that. What maybe advice would you have for someone who wants to start to, make some different decisions and establish an environment where they can have the sort of relationships with their employees that you've been able to cultivate?
Number one, I would say open yourself up to that and allow that vulnerability, if you will. Mm-hmm. Share how you feel and your struggles, and look, you can reach out and seek advice from your peers. I mean, I just believe that opens that conduit for communication, and that you show the weakness or strength, I guess, whichever it is, but some type of just open, personal, drop the barrier and have a discussion and have a laugh and talk about, if you're, especially with like a newer employee, just looking for ways to identify with them, ask them some questions, share a little bit, but do more listening, I think, than talking. And that'd be a great place to start. That would be then that person's own way, whatever they need to do that. I think that would be the best thing.
Yeah. And Josh, from kind of a employee, but also supervisor standpoint, any sort of advice that you would give people who want to maybe start implementing some of these things, how to really get going on it?
I mean, like I said before, the weekly meetings, that's what we do. Like they know. I used to always have to text my guys come Sunday evening, say, we're having an office meeting or we're not. No, now it's just, that's what we're doing. Right. This last Monday, I actually wasn't feeling well. So actually they still had a meeting. I was able to text our lead and he ran his own meeting because they don't need me there anymore as much. Like they can do it. They know the steps. They know what we do because we do it every single Monday.
So if I can jump in there, I think you both hit on something that's really valuable. So there is this willingness to be vulnerable. But that vulnerability is twofold. It's not just that I'm sharing with you things I might be scared of or uncertain of, but it's also when I share with you my strength. And so there are things that are up for discussion, and then there are things that are not up for discussion. Whether the Monday meeting happens or not, that's not up for discussion. The structure of the meeting, not up for discussion. The content of the meeting, that's where we can all pour ourselves into so that we get the best content out of that. And so I just wanted to tag that really quick before we move off that point, because I think both of those are really important.
Yeah. It's a great summary. We'll pause there. Thanks for joining us for part 2 of our conversation with band construction, mental health in the workplace. This is Talk About It Tuesday, the Spokane Home Builders Association. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at the next one.